Hey guys, welcome to the second part of the series of the problem of evil. A quick recap. In the last video, we covered the inconsistent triad, the logical problem of evil, and also the Augustinian Theodicy. Please stay tuned. In this video, we're going to be covering the free will defense and also the Irenaean Theodicy. Without any further ado, let's jump right into it.
They win.
The Irenaean Theodicy. This theodicy is named after Saint Irenaeus of Lyons. The theodicy is also known as the soul-making theodicy. Irenaeus distinguished between the image and the likeness of God. Adam had the form of God, but not the content of God. Adam and Eve were expelled from the Garden of Eden because they were immature and needed to develop. That is, they were to grow into the likeness, the content of God. They were the raw material for a further stage of God's creative work. The term soul-making was coined by John Hick. This term he used to define Irenaeus' idea of moral growth. He adds that the notion of epistemic distance, that is, God must remain epistemically distant and hence hidden from us to preserve our free will. To summarize the Irenaean theodicy is as follows. Humans were created in the image and likeness of God. We are an immature moral state, though we have the potential for moral perfection. Throughout our lives, we change from being human animals to children of God. This is a choice made after the struggle and experience, as we choose God rather than our basic instinct. There are no angels or external forces at work here. God brings in suffering for the benefit of humanity. From it, we learn positive values and about the world around us. Suffering and evil are useful means of knowledge. Hunger leads to pain and causes to desire to feed. Knowledge of pain prompts humans to seek to help others in pain. Character building. Evil offers the opportunity to grow morally. If we were programmed to do the right thing, there would be no moral value in our actions. We would never learn the art of goodness in a world designed to complete paradise. A predictable environment. The world runs to a series of natural laws. These laws are independent of our needs and operate regardless of anything. Natural evil is when these laws come into conflict with our own perceived needs. Unlike Augustine, Irenaeus does not believe in that both humanity and the world is made perfect. Irenaeus argued that everyone goes to heaven. This would appear unjust in that evil goes unpunished, morality becomes pointless. This is not Orthodox Christianity, by the way. It denies the fall, and Jesus' role is reduced to that of moral example. Despite this, evil and suffering can lead people to moral degradation instead of moral perfection. Does the birth of a stillborn baby or a high school shooting lead to any greater good? Why should soul-making involve suffering? The suffering is good for you. Argument seems unjust, especially the suffering of innocence. Hume was critical. Could not our world be a little more hospitable and still teach us what we need to know? Could we not learn through pleasure as well as pain? Swinburne argues that our suffering is limited by our own capacity to feel pain and by our lifespan. Can suffering ever be justified on the grounds of motive? Suffering does not sit easily with the concept of a loving God. It seems difficult to justify something like the Holocaust with the concept of soul-making. Do the ends justify the means? If it is not okay for someone to do something bad in the name of getting out something that is good, why is it okay for God to make an imperfect world for a higher, greater good? If He has the power, Why not make it perfectly good from the onset? The free will defense. The Irenaean and Augustinian Theodicies are overtly Christian. The free will defense addresses the existence of evil and God through the argument of free will. Because free will is good, a wholly good being might wish for others to have free will, but it is impossible to have both free will and stop creatures who have free will from doing evil. Richard Swinburne argues that the less God allows men to bring about large-scale horrors, the less freedom and responsibility he gives them. And so free will is better than limited freedom. Swinburne believes that a world without death is one in which a person cannot make the ultimate sacrifice, adding that a limited lifespan gives value and meaning to life. An unlimited lifespan has no value or lessens value to learn. Also, a world without death would be one in which the young are constantly dominated by the old, in which the old never give over responsibility to the young. Some of the criticisms of the free will defense can be taken from both the Augustinian and the Irenaean Theodicies. For example, why is it okay for God to make an imperfect world for a higher and greater good? If God has the power, why not make it perfectly good from the onset? Swinburne claimed that God, in creating the world, had two options. One, to create a world that has maximal pleasure and goodness and minimal evil and suffering, but with minimal free will. And two, to create a world with maximal free will as to allow people to have a genuine response to God, but in turn to give people the option to commit evil. Mackey, however, argued a third option. God, who is all-powerful, can have the best of both worlds. Maximal free will with minimal evil and suffering, and maximal pleasure and goodness. If God can make someone to do good on occasion while still having them maintain their free will, then it is not logically impossible for God to create people with the capacity to always do good. The problem of evil is still a matter of great debate and will unlikely be resolved anytime soon. However, the criticisms to its theodicies seem to hold more water than what the actual theodicies argue themselves. The question to everyone is how one reconciles evil with the existence of an all-powerful and all-loving God.
Dreams. My dream has a wallet full of blue-faced Mandelas with a 50 just endeavor to brighten up my treasure. Looking for some closure, capture pictures, keep composure. Hanging up on pictures, capture pictures, gun enclosure. Come up, ain't pugnacious, free throw, I'm patient. 3 points, no agent. Fuck is building greatness like Da Vinci in his prime. I found gold in my mind, Ryan belts in this mind, crystal clear. Oh, fine, perch given to my home. Big bang, I'm the bone. Sunshine on my dome. Setbacks couldn't set me back. Fairy tales in my raps, happy endings in my path. Dead bodies in my racks, dead bodies in my ranks. Feel my